All right, let's dig into a profession that is, no joke, one of the most vital on the entire planet, but also one of the most overlooked: soil science. We're about to uncover how that ground right under our feet is so much more than just dirt.
I mean, just think about that question for a second. We tend to look at soil as, well, dirt, something to wipe off our shoes. But what if it actually holds the keys to solving some of our planet's biggest, most complex challenges? That's exactly what we're going to explore.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by redefining what soil actually is. Then we'll meet the scientists who are, the experts. We'll see what they do all day, talk about the career path, the money, and then tie it all back to how this job can literally help save the world.
Okay, first things first, we have got to get a major misconception out of the way. We are not just talking about dirt here.
Yeah, exactly. Soil is this incredibly complex, bustling, living system. It's the foundation for our food, a natural filter for our water, one of the planet's absolute biggest carbon sinks, and it is teeming with biodiversity. To put it simply, it's a resource we absolutely cannot live without. So who are these professionals who dedicate their lives to understanding this vital resource? Well, they're soil scientists. You could almost call them the guardians of the ground.
Officially, soil science is the study of soil as a natural resource. But what does that really mean? It means understanding its whole life story, how it forms, what it's made of, and figuring out the best ways we can manage it for the long haul, for everything from farming to building our cities.
And the field kind of splits into two main branches, which is pretty fascinating. On one hand, you have pedology, which studies soil just for the sake of understanding soil itself, its history, its chemistry, how to classify it. On the other hand, there's edaphology, which studies how soil and living things, especially plants, interact. So one looks down into the earth, and the other looks up from the earth to see what it can grow.
So how does all this theory translate into an actual career? I mean, what does a day in the life of a soil scientist really look like?
Well, it is definitely not your typical desk job. The work is this really cool mix of getting your boots muddy out in the field, then putting on a lab coat for some super precise analysis, and finally heading to the office to crunch the numbers and make sense of it all. It's a real blend of adventure and analysis.
A typical project kind of flows through these four key stages. It all starts outdoors, doing surveys, grabbing soil samples with tools called augers. Then it's back to the lab to measure everything: pH, nutrients, you name it. After that, they use some really powerful software to analyze all that data and create detailed maps. And the final, crucial step, they turn all that science into practical, real-world advice for farmers, engineers, even politicians.
And the tools they use are pretty amazing. It's a combination of hands-on gear like those augers with some seriously high-tech stuff. We're talking about super accurate GPS for mapping, satellite imagery to see the big picture from space, and powerful software like GIS to turn all that raw data into predictive, useful maps.
Okay, so maybe you're intrigued. What does it actually take to become a soil scientist? Let's walk through the career path.
The journey usually kicks off with a bachelor's degree. That's what gets your foot in the door. A master's degree is often what opens up the more specialized research and management positions. And if your dream is to run a university lab or have a real hand in shaping national policy, then a PhD is the way to go. Each step up unlocks a new level of responsibility and impact.
But, it's not just about the letters after your name. Professional integrity is absolutely critical in this field. This quote from the Soil Science Society of America really gets to the heart of it. Their job is to give honest, impartial advice. Their credibility depends entirely on being trusted scientific advisors. Okay, let's get down to the brass tacks. What can you earn and what does the job market actually look like? So the headline number, as of 2022, was a median salary of just over $65,000 a year. But, and this is a really big but, that number can swing pretty wildly depending on a few key factors. And one of the biggest factors is who you work for. Check this out. Federal government jobs have the highest median salary, coming in at almost $80,000. R&D and private consulting are also up there. On the other end, state government and university jobs tend to be a little bit lower on the pay scale. And where you live is another huge piece of the puzzle. In a state like Maryland, which is right next to all those federal jobs and has a higher cost of living, the median salary skyrockets to over $100,000. Now, compare that to a major agricultural state like Iowa, where the median is closer to $63,000. Big difference.
And what about actually finding a job? Well, the outlook is solid. The field is expected to grow by about 6% over the next decade. Now, that's not some crazy, explosive growth, but it is steady and it's sustainable. It's driven by a very real, ongoing need for their skills in things like conservation and farming.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This isn't just about earning a paycheck. It's a career that has a massive impact on our future.
And this is where you can really see that impact. Soil scientists are on the front lines of making sure we can feed everyone on the planet. They are key players in the fight against climate change, using a process called carbon sequestration to lock carbon safely in the ground. And they're absolutely essential for protecting our environment, from cleaning up pollution to guiding how we build our communities. So when you put it all together, it's pretty clear. The future of our planet is literally written in its soil. The only question left is, who's going to step up and help write that next, more sustainable chapter?